Tonight I'm camping in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and below my feet, just through this hatch door, is a flooded nuclear missile silo from the Cold War. I'm going to be facing one of my oldest fears as I descend below the earth and swim in a dark, deep pool of water, and I don't like the idea of what might be down there. This is the freakiest thing I've ever done in my life. This place is called Dive Valhalla, and its purpose is for scuba divers to get a really unique experience. First thing I did after arriving was set up my tent. I had to wait until pretty late in the day before I could go down and dive in, so while I wait, I'll tell you a story.
What freaks me out the most, like going back as far as I can think of in my life, would be heights, like being somewhere really, really high up. But a close second to that would be the unknown, like when you're a kid and you're standing next to your bed and there's this idea that something might grab your ankles. Around corners and things that you can't see, like behind the closet door or just being in a pitch black room. And I'd imagine most people relate with me on this. Kids have wild imaginations, but mine really got out of hand. One of the best examples I can think of is any of the many times that my parents would take my brothers and I to the lake when we were growing up. You would never find me in the water alone because of that idea, right? Like something below you in this body of water that's not perfectly clear, there's something below you reaching up and grabbing you. Like there was even a time when I was in a swimming pool at a party. I was maybe like 14 or something, and I was underwater for like a minute, and when I came up out of the water, I noticed no one else was in the water. And to try to be like, don't be ridiculous, I put my head underwater one more time, and my imagination went from 0 to 100 fast, and I started imagining like a shark like portaling its way through the pool wall. Like, am I crazy, or does anyone else out there relate with what I'm saying? I'll be doing something that younger me would never, ever have been caught doing. And I'm actually still kind of wrapping my head around it because I saw it today. What is it? How do I explain this?
This is an underground pool that goes over 100 feet deep and doesn't have any lights underwater. Here's a sketch of the whole structure from back in the 60s. And this is me walking around on the top surface of the silo. If I hadn't been down there, I'd have no idea how big of a thing I'm standing on. And now it's time for me to jump in, but I'm trying to see how deep I can dive. And for that, I'll need more than a swimsuit.
First, you suit up. Then you walk down this long staircase that this owner of this silo put together with rope and PVC, and he looks you right in the eyes and goes, yeah, it's pretty sturdy. You make it down to the platform, jump in, check all of your gear for a second time with your dive buddies. The two people I was diving with were far more experienced than me, and the first thing that they wanted to do was go straight to the bottom. As I was sitting in the water, my heart was pounding a little bit. I was just not letting myself think about exactly what it was that I was about to be doing. Well, then you let all the air out of your vest and you sink.
It's getting dark really quick.
It took less than 2 minutes to get all the way down to the bottom at 103 feet. If I looked up, it was like darkness. It was like a small hint of green. Like when I looked at the footage picked up more green and lights than I remember there being when I was there. I remember looking up and it just being like a dull green above me. Barely anything to see. Like without a flashlight, you would be lost down there. But you would know which way is up so long as you had your mask on. That's a good thing. The main thing we did when we were down there was looking for coins, because the guy that owns the silo flips a coin into the water each time he introduces a new person to the silo to show you that the water actually has really great visibility. As the coin sinks, it tumbles and flips, picking up the lights around the silo, and you can see it shimmer as it falls 20, 30 feet before it disappears, which was impressive visibility. I mean, when I first saw it, I thought, I didn't mean to offend or anything, but I told the guy like, wow, you really can't see anything. And then he pulled out his coin and flipped it, and I was like, wow, this has great visibility. It's just there's no lights down there that you look down and you can't really see past the surface without that coin. Of course, if you find a coin, he says you can keep it, and I looked and looked and I didn't find one. But my mask was very fogged up, which is another problem. I could hardly see, and I need to fix that somehow. And at some point in the 5 minutes that we were 100 feet deep, I totally calmed down. I wasn't thinking about what I was doing or any of that. And then at some point before that 5 minutes was up, I kind of like looked around me and saw that there were like steel beams just laying around me in the rubble, and my heart started beating fast again. I couldn't help it. I was breathing a lot of air. If I remember correctly, if you're 30 feet deep, you consume twice as much air or something, and if you're 60 feet deep, you consume 3 times as much air, and then 90 feet deep, 4 times as much air. But when you're at 100 feet deep, every breath consumes way more of your tank, and I had never experienced that before. So on our ascent, when we stop at 60 feet for 1 minute, and then 50 feet for 1 minute, and then 40 feet for 1 minute, to do what's called decompression, because you don't want to get bubbles in your joints and stuff and hurt yourself badly. Because basically when you're underwater, you're like a soda can, and a lot of like gas gets stored in your body, and you have to fix that by stopping at certain depths on your way up for a certain amount of time rather than going straight to the surface. Well, I think it was at 30 feet, I looked down at how much air I have left, and it showed 1,400, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've only been underwater for like 9 minutes. And I've just vacuumed up all the air that I have. I mean, not all of it, but you know what I mean. And then we went to go check out what used to be the control room. I was between 20 and 30 feet deep. It just blows my mind imagining like myself in the 60s looking at this place without any water flooding it, with a missile in there, working from this old, now destroyed control center, control room, to be doing some scary stuff like this. Like, if there's one thing that I don't want, if this makes any sense, it would be to like always have these certain fears, you know? Like, it just killed me as a kid to be so scared of the dark, so scared of the unknown, of what isn't there, and you know that if you told someone else, that they would tell you that you're being ridiculous. And so you never verbalize that stuff. I've tried hard in my life to find areas like this where I'm being ridiculous and to tackle it and be more confident and grow up, I guess. Because I've learned these are things that kind of just stick with you if you don't do that. Feels like an accomplishment. Feels good. I accomplished something cool, guys. Or if there's any chance that looks like I'm fishing. Probably not.